Suddenly, a rush of footsteps barged into this promo, with sunlight streaming through the cracks, casting Katie's silhouette like a beautiful illustration onto the wall. So stunning that it's blinding, yet her expression contrasts sharply as if she just saw a ghost. The overlapping shadows froze in an instant, as they both held their breath, staring at the door lock. The doorknob creaked ominously as it slowly turned. A moment later, it slowly retracted, returning the hallway to silence, and the two, drenched in cold sweat, finally exhaled in relief. Although the immediate crisis has already come to an end, Katie still remained fearful of her husband's discovery, whereas Charlie paid no attention to it at all, saying, "I will never waste a single second making you fall in love with me." After years in social circles, Katie knew she was a beauty since childhood, blossoming into a stunning adult. Her mother hoped she'd snag a rich husband and change their fortunes, so from the moment she hit marriageable age, Katie was living it up in shallow parties. She relished the attention from men, but time was not on her side, and with each passing year, her admirers dwindled. Meanwhile, her not-so-stunning sister was quick to marry a wannabe baron, turning their mother's attitude toward Katie upside down. The mother's cold shoulder to Katie was palpable, as if asking, "What's your father's problem?" Shock, embarrassment, and anger surged through Katie instantly. In a mad dash to secure her own future before her sister's wedding, she hastily married Walter, a playwriting student she barely knew. Walter fell for her at first sight, doting on her after marriage, but Katie found him dull as a rock. This marriage is a bore. Katie was a lively little sparrow, chirping away, while Walter was a silent log. Their communication was basically speaking different languages. Even when she shed, Walter stayed expressionless, same roof, yet Katie's warmth vanished like pebbles in the sea. With nothing left but loneliness echoing in her heart, Katie began searching for a substitute for her emotional void, which led her to the charismatic Charlie. Charlie was married and seasoned in the dating game, and coincidentally, his charm sparkled under the dim lights. The moment they met, the air crackled with flirtation, becoming a tantalizing secret between them. Katie was wrapped in the sweet pleasure of this affair, but now everything had turned into a nightmare because of that turning doorknob. Katie was on edge for 2 days, and finally her husband showed up. His reaction was far from hysterical. He simply said, "In a few days, in taking you to the play camp in Merton." Used to a pampered life, Katie wasn't thrilled about it, yet she found herself in a dilemma. She felt no guilt, instead wearing her heart on her sleeve, hoping her husband would accept her relationship. Walter, fed up with this fool, said, "If Charlie leaves family for you, stop clinging. Otherwise, Katie would have to accompany me to Merton," but she didn't really care about this marriage in the first place, and was fully confident in her own charm. Hurriedly, she sought out her lover, only to be flatly rejected. "I'm not giving up my great life for you." Charlie didn't want to sacrifice his family and career for a fling. In his eyes, Katie was just a cheaply accessible trophy. It wasn't until this point that Katie grasped her husband's perspective and realized she was trapped with no way out. On the way to Merton, to punish her, Walter intentionally chose the long, winding mountain path. The sweltering heat was driving her mad, and every slippery step was enough to make anyone cringe. But what really unsettled Katie were the constant ghostly sightings and those coffins lining the route. After days of checking, the dilapidated mansion came into view, and stepping inside, a musty, dusty smell hit them. The furniture was slumped and skewed, and the bed was adorned with the previous owner's creepy dolls that looked like they'd just escaped a haunted house. As Katie saw this, she screamed internally and wanted to toss them out immediately. She spent the entire night in agony, and when Walter noticed, he suggested a cholera shot, his sneer prompting her outright refusal. She felt that his words carried the poisonous tone, her heart filled with terror, as Katie tossed and turned, unable to fall asleep. She sensed an ethereal whisper of crying in the air, squeezing her eyes and ears shut, yet still unable to drift off. As dawn was just breaking, she heard some sounds coming from the courtyard. Upon stepping outside to take a look, she observed Walter engaged in a conversation with several officers. Not long after that, a soldier armed with a gun also made his appearance outside the house. Though claiming to be there for security, Katie knew full well this was nothing more than her husband's surveillance. As Walter followed the group, he spotted villagers drawing water from a well, making her frown at the murky buckets. As an expert accustomed to pathogens, Katie instantly realized this well could be the source of the outbreak, and they moved on to the clinic. The clinic was filled with haunting scenes of suffering and muffled sobs. Rows of patients gasped for air on straw mattresses, sending chills down her spine. Some individuals were huddled into bow-like shape due to severe dehydration, while others were completely unable to move from extreme exhaustion. Despite having witnessed numerous infectious pathogens in the past, upon seeing those pallid, ashen faces, Walter still couldn't help but swallow his saliva nervously. Meanwhile, back in the house 10 kilometers away, Katie could no longer endure life so close to death. She secretly pulled out some paper, penning a letter to Charlie expressing her longing and desire to escape, thinking he'd swoop in to rescue her. Reality slapped her hard as her letter hit a snag thanks to the collar zone. It couldn't be sent out. Katie had no choice but to seek help from an officer, gifting him a rare record in return. The officer casually caught sight of Charlie's name, mentioning he'd seen him in Shanghai before, seeming pretty skilled in the flirting department. He thought women who made the first move lacked charm, while Katie felt a flush rise, forcing a smile as she readied to leave. This guy was loaded with venom. Katie felt he was practically flirting with her. Be sure to continue keeping a close watch on our channel and never forget to click that subscribe button.